Hello and welcome, Almost 30 Podcast.
How we doing?
How are you? What's up, everyone? You don't need to be 30, just FYI. We're over, so
we're over. We're over and
hang
above.
loose, take off your bra. Let's relax.
Let's relax, baby.
That's what I want to do right now.
Good to be. I know.
Too long.
We've been recording so much. As fun as it is.
I know, as fun as it is.
And, you know, just...
Gotta be camera ready.
I know.
Gotta be camera ready for hours.
If people saw us right now, I don't know if they'd categorize us
100%.
as camera ready.
100%. It melts off.
For us, this is, but...
It melts the frick off. We're excited to have you. Almost 30 is a community, and our goal, when Lindsay and I started, we didn't really even know that it would become such a beautiful community all over the world, but our goal was to help people in their evolution. We wanted more support in our evolution in our late 20s when we were going through our Saturn return, and we're really grateful to have created the show where we talk about wellness, spirituality, all things taboo, and our goal again is just to support you as you awaken.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride, and this episode in particular today, you know, really reflects like our focus, I think, as of the last year and a half or so on spirituality and just kind of delving more into the spirit of who we are. You know, I think that we can treat the physical body, the health and wellness pieces, but to treat the spirit affects everything else.
Yes.
You know,
that's how we evolved from just the body to the spirit.
Mm-hmm. That is our evolution.
That is our evolution. And this one is a good one with Manuela. She is a friend of ours now. I started working with her in January of 2021. I was introduced to her by our dear friend, Danielle. She's worked with a few of our friends now, and we worked on the basis where we met twice a month. And during one of the sessions, she was working with another woman who lives in Mexico, who actually does curse breaking and a lot of shadow work. So Manuela would work with her exclusively for that hour, and then everything that happened in their session together, she would bring to me. Mm-hmm. She would bring that information to me.
Yes. We
would sort of debrief on everything that they found in their work, and it was just incredibly powerful. She's very kind. She's very low key, like not really a social media following, not really about becoming a star or a guru or becoming anything other than what she is. And I'm really excited to be working with her more deeply in the fall. I'm going to mentor. She's going to be my mentor. I'm going to apprentice underneath her so I can learn a lot more about her healing modalities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is, you know, dedicated in studying a variety of different healing modalities, like shamanistic studies, intuitive touch, psychic ability, crystal healing, aromatherapy, mediumship, dance, and movement therapy. When I first was, you know, looking at what she does, which is recently, I was like taken aback by her dance and like her ecstatic dance, which she featured on her Instagram. And I was like, oh, this is healing. It's that is healing. It was so beautiful and so free and liberated, and just felt like connected to much more than just herself. It felt like an honoring of her ancestors, to the earth. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I was actually jumping on the trampoline that you left here.
Oh,
the other day.
You're welcome.
Buy a hack is a trampoline. You can get them really cheap on Amazon or at like a local sporting goods store, but we have one. And I also have a vibration plate, and I was kind of thinking, I'm like, I should work through an emotion right now. Like while I'm physically moving either on the trampoline or the vibration plate, or if you dance or if you run. But I was kind of consciously trying to bring through some of the emotions that I've been feeling so that I could work them through my body physically, which is something I loved to do in the class when we used to do the class. But Manuela's on her Instagram, it's really inspiring to see her dance and just really freely be.
Wild woman.
I know. There was actually an Instagram post today from Jaya John, and I was like gonna post it, and it was like, I like let the wild woman be wild, and I was like gonna post it, and I'm like, what are you doing at all that's wild? Like I literally was like, I like to share these posts and then like never do anything related to that. The post was,
meaning you. Yes, what have you done that's wild?
It's Jaya John. the post is, sometimes the best way to get your life in order is to go wild and never be civilized again. And I'm like, I'm going to share that and like,
and then go on to
Top Chef on Netflix.
Go on to a sauna and like schedule your next day.
100% and not touch the bare earth for 4 weeks. Like I just was like, oh, I'm not going to share that because you're not going to do anything about that.
What did you, the book that you just got,
Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Yes, exactly.
Which is a classic for so many people. But yeah, it's actually interesting. It's a really profound book. Each sentence is like has a lot of medicine, which I really like. And so you can kind of take it in pieces, but it's almost like, what do you mean?
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
It was hard for me to read sometimes.
Yeah, it's like women are wild and not meant to be tamed. And I think I'm so far from that. I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know what that would look like. Is it achievable in modern life? And I'm not saying this to throw shade at the book because it's profound and I love it. But I am wondering, how could I apply this?
I think in big and small ways. I think it could be in like your morning practice. I think there could be some wildness there. I think maybe your next vacation is
totally
outside of your comfort zone. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe I go zip lining. Maybe I don't brush my hair for a week. Exactly. What does it look like? I don't know if I'm so neutered that or like spayed that I can't really see it, but I'm actually just started it. But it's good. Like I just love the layeredness of the feminine and how it's described. So it's refreshing and I enjoy it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you do.
Thank you. We had sessions with Manuela, just Lindsay and I. So I've worked with her before for a few months. And then Lindsay and I also had one-on-one sessions. I got to see her in person and yours was on the phone. And they were incredible. It was great because it was the first time I got to meet her in person. She drove down from where she lives right now. And it was just really beautiful. It was like a mix of Reiki. It was a mix of Chinese medicine. She like brings a bunch of different modalities in there and it was deeply relaxing. And then afterwards she sort of shared with me what she saw and what she read. And she said that, well, first, when she first arrived at the place, she's like, how are your shoulders? And I was like, oh man, they're like not good right now. She's like, I know, my back hurt the whole way on the way here. She says it so cutely. But she's like, I tap in and tune in a few hours before I meet with people. She's like, so for you, my back was hurting and I was eating chocolate. I haven't eaten chocolate in months. So she was eating chocolate and her back was like in pain, which was hilarious. I'm like, oh yeah, that's accurate because I was actually doing that right before you came. But the back and where my back was bothering me was related to my dad and sort of the health issues and what's been going on with my father. So there was a lot there that we really worked through and cleared. And then the 2 points on my back that had the most tension were really those mediumship points. So there's 2 points on your back for people that are like deeply in tuned for mediumship, and mine were really clogged. So we had to clear those out. And then the part that was really interesting was just about stepping into being a healer and my previous life as like an ice queen. She's like, yo, your higher self showed me this like ice castle and you were like an ice queen in the ice castle.
Wow.
Which was hilarious. And she's like, yeah, it was like a really beautiful ice castle. And if you don't step into your like queen healerdom, you're going to have to do it in another life. So it was just fascinating. And it really gave me the inspiration to work with her more deeply, to really lean into that and learn as much as I can and read as much as I can and be hopefully a beautiful conduit for healing, however that manifests. I don't think it'll be one-on-one, but really just to like be more conscious about how I'm using my energy with people and how it can be healing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Ice queen.
I know, ice queen, big old bitch.
So she's saying that if you don't step into that you will go back to the ice castle.
Forever. No, I would want to go to the ice castle.
I know. I was like, sounds pretty dope.
I know, honestly, it's sick. Oh, but she's like, your body stuff will be will be cleared when you're moving a lot of your energy. She's like, you have a lot of healer energy that's kind of like stuck. So she's like, put your hands on your cats, put your hands on Justin, and just kind of let a lot of the energy flow. So I've been doing that a lot, where I have my hands on him.
Wow.
And just like healing him.
Wow.
But then he's always like, hey, will you rub my back? I'm like, no.
I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's
I'm
not
healing
the
you in
point.
other ways, babe.
Yes.
That's really beautiful.
And the cats all try and like pick him up and like heal them. And they're like, they're like electrocuted. They're like,
well, we are here for it. As you step in,
How was
we
yours?
are here for it. It was good. It was good. So mine was remote, and an hour before, I just kind of went into a meditative state so she can tune in. And that was interesting for me, to be in a meditative state for an hour. You know,
Yeah.
like
I would have cheated.
it was great. I was like, oh, I can do this,
Yeah.
and I should do this more often. But during that meditative state, I started like singing, and it was just very like, at a certain point, you just kind of like, I was no longer like, I am meditating, you know, in that like state. I was just kind of like flowing. I was like stretching. I was like just kind of in my body and making sounds and whatnot. But yeah, that she called me, and it was really beautiful. She did lead with, you have a lot of grief around your heart. So I was like, awesome. But I've been told that before, and I think part of it is inherited. And I think part of it is, you know, some taking on of some current grief, like whether it's in my family, and then I had a thought around my like past relationship, where I have that like guilt and grief around kind of the death of that and how that happened. I think I'm over it, but like she's like, there's just some grief around your heart. So like really really allowing yourself to feel everything that's coming up right now, and not stuffing at all. She was also nauseous. She's like, around her energy field, she's
Thank
like,
you.
she's like, I'm a little nauseous. She's like, I feel like there's a leak. And she's like, you're such a like clear channel to source that like with that little leak, it's wanting to get in, like things wanting to get in, like foreign energy coming in. So, yeah, that was interesting.
You're like, so I'm possessed.
I know. I was like, oh, awesome.
Like, so a demon's knocking at my door.
Literally. I confirmed it was not a demon,
course
but
not.
still, I was like, but yeah, she's just like, you're a very open channel and you're getting messages all the time, but it's like, there is that grief, there is kind of that foreign energy, and it's just blocking. And then she mentioned just like breath work is an incredibly powerful modality for me, which I already knew, and I've talked about it, but I don't practice it as much as I could. So right after our session, I did Brie Melanson's, she sent just a breathwork recording that she did recently and wanted her friends to do before she like sent it out to the public. And I was like, oh, this is why I do it. This is why I freaking do this. It's such a powerful way for me to like, quite literally like not hold on to anything anymore. It like really opens up the channel. But yeah.
I think Shaman Dirk, when Shaman Dirk read me, he was like, oh, you've got depression in your field.
He's like, oh, sweetheart.
Yeah, he's like, oh, 1, 2, 5. You're a 3 on the anxious scale, and you've got depression in your field.
Dude, yeah. But that's
beautiful. Hard because you're like,
you
know, it's so hard because so many of these, I think I'm getting to the point where I know what's accurate and what's not. Not that I'm saying that whatever anyone said that isn't, but it is hard because so many people take on everything as truth.
I know.
That people say, and that's, I guess, my fear of being a healer is like, dude, you don't want to, completely change everyone's life. I don't know. I guess you change
for the better.
Most for the better. But I know also the things that it sticks with people for a long time. Really impacts them.
But I feel like too, it's like the responsibility of the healer is not to then kind of follow and make sure that they are integrating what you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think about the things that like, what if there wasn't grief on your heart? What if she was like, I see a lot of joy in your heart? You'd be like, oh yeah, Sean's the best. I'm so happy. You know what I mean?
It didn't make me yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not like you were sad or bothered.
I was just kind of like, okay, like, oh, okay. It felt inherited. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I was like, sounds good. Sounds like a murmur or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's just there.
Call me Griefy Heart. That's your new band. Griefy Heart.
She is so powerful.
So powerful.
Love her so deeply. And to have her in person here was really special. And she felt a lot of energy just like coming on in. Yeah. So, you know.
It's almost, I think she was uncomfortable. Because we were talking about some heavy shit. We talked a lot about being a conscious person today, how to navigate the matrix. We talked about her journey with her gifts, which is really, really beautiful. We talked about how to tap into energies, how to tap in more deeply to your intuition. And it's just one of those really like windy, beautiful spiritual conversations where we kind of just listened to what we felt like we wanted to talk about intuitively. But when we talked about the matrix, it was so interesting because she's like, there are beings here that are curious about what we're talking about. Yeah, she said the all-seeing eye. And I said, suck it.
You are not welcome.
You are not welcome here.
We are protected.
We are protected, big facts.
Well, thank you, Manuela. You can learn more about Manuela and her offerings at manuelawelton.com, ManuelaWelton.com.
And her Instagram is the same. It's Manuela Welton. It's Manuela Welton, all one word. And I will keep you guys posted on our apprenticeship that we're going to be working together. I'm her first student that she's ever taken.
That is so cool.
She's been an apprentice for people all over the world. Or she's worked with people as an apprentice for all over the world. So I'm excited to be working with her and to be tapping into my gifts and all of that. I'm ready, dead people. I'm ready.
Ready to do it.
I'm ready, dead people. I've been said no for most of my life, and now it's time. Now it's time. I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Definitely share it with a friend. If you guys have a woo-woo friend that you love to talk about all this kind of stuff with, they would love this episode. And then also subscribe to Almost 30. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we would be honored if you would subscribe to the show. It just makes it really easy for our episodes to come into your inbox. And if you want to, write a beautiful review. We love and receive all of your loving kind comments, whether if it's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or the reviews.
Yes. Thank you all so much. We'll see you on the other side.
See you soon.
Bye.
Hello and welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Manu. Welcome, sister.
Thank you.
Guys, I've been working. Do you like Manuela or Manu?
Whichever you like.
Manuela. Okay. So I've been working with you for like since January.
That's right.
And then we did our first in-person session today, or on Thursday, which was unreal. And then you got to meet with her, which was unreal. But
yeah, over the phone, it was so powerful.
Yeah. We got introduced to you by Danielle, which was incredible. She's like, she's the best. She's helping me with so much. I was in Miami at the time when she introduced us. And I'm so grateful that we found you and that we found someone that feels like you're just so honoring of the work and where you've found and come through the work, like I guess through your ancestors, through nature, through all these different places. And that's what I think I most love about you and appreciate about you is your honorance and your reverence for where your information and knowledge has come.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey, long journey of learning and relearning. And I think that's the biggest, just to learn from our ancestors and our teachers and our mentors that show up without even looking for them has been the most powerful path forward for me. And it's been a beautiful one. So to honor where it comes from and where I've learned and who I learn from is important in every step of the way, because it's not our information, it's channeled through us. It's, we are the channels of something much bigger than ourselves. So.
That's what I was thinking about when we had our session. It was like about stepping into healership. And I was thinking about that, how, there's only pressure in becoming a healer if you're thinking that you're the one that's healing. It's because it's actually not you. And that's where people sort of get it wrong. And that's where I got it wrong, in the feeling of pressure around potentially stepping into being a healer in some sort of way. It's like, well, it's actually not you at all that's doing the healing. It's the person that's actually doing the healing. You're just serving as the catalyst, which they talk about in Course in Miracles and Law of One quite a bit. And so it's like, it actually isn't stressful, and it shouldn't be something that's causing you me to feel, in this case, like overwhelmed or pressure, because it's not actually me at all. It's like just being the clearest channel that I can. And in Course in Miracles, they talk a lot about, in the ending chapter where they talk about, for teachers, they talk about that in healing, you know, if you're giving someone the gift of healing, you don't check on them every week to see if they're using the gift. Like if you give someone a gift, you don't check on them consistently to see if they're using the gifts that you give them. You give them the gift, and then you sort of, your work is done, like you move on. And that's the same in healing. Like it's none of our business how someone uses or steps into the healing or receives the healing. It's really just our job to be in service of the healing that happens.
Right, to put ourselves to the one side and to really honor and see the person as they are. Actually, one of the biggest things that I've learned this year is, for myself, how I was moving from a place of healing from wounding and needing to heal someone because I myself was looking for something within the healing. And then it's been a massive shift of just really what you're saying to. And it's a process. I think it's the most beautiful thing to actually recognize that it's a process and it's a constant growth, right? So where we come from healing from a place of needing to heal because we are needing to heal ourselves, versus really showing up to the healing because we are this open source where spirit or energy or even nature comes through us to show us and to really connect to one another and be of service to the other. No matter what, because I can have it and you can have it as well. And we all have it. So how we show up to that healing with our unique gifts is, you know, that's part of the growth. And the more we can do it, not from a place of the wounded healer. I don't know if you've heard that, but from a place of real service. I think that's where the...
Can you talk about the wounded healer a little bit? You brought it up when we had our session.
I actually don't know.
Yeah, and we didn't go into it. So I would love to talk about that.
I don't call myself an astrologer. I don't know much about astrology, but we all have something called the Chiron. And, the Chiron is, we come with a specific wounding around certain aspects. Childhood trauma is usually where it really comes out and it comes up. So let's say abandonment issues, and you are shown as a child about abandonment in order to heal that and then come into your power as whoever you are, a musician, an artist, an actor, and you come into your power as that channel, and then you bring forth the healing of abandonment. And so it's like this reciprocity of energy of, wounded healer could be shown as in parent relationships a lot. For example, it's like whether any abuse showed up or something that you had to learn, and a lot of us kind of see it as like, oh, this is happening to me, like ouch,
right.
And it's really actually a lesson in what you're here to be of service of. And that's to me the wounded healer. It's like we learn what we need to learn in order to give back to the world, in service of sorts.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, it's like the wound is the way, but I feel like a lot of my experience and what I've observed in people, it's like, let me figure out the wound and heal the wound before I step into becoming who I'm meant to become, where you're kind of saying that this is like the way in which it's like through that wound is how we step in.
Right. Or not before, throughout, right? So
Right.
for me, I'll speak of myself as an example. My wound is communication, actually. It's taken me a long time. My words sometimes cannot catch up to my energy. And so I can't, like, if for me to sit here 10 years ago would have been like, I can't translate the energy as fast. And I would like stutter a lot, and I still kind of stutter a bit because I can't translate what I'm feeling. And so my wounding is around communicating what I feel. And you can see that in my astrological chart. as like I come here to understand how to communicate and translate and then support other people in doing the same creatively, whether it's, again, music, art, dance, or even actually speaking. So, yeah.
What's yours?
You said that mine was trust, and I've been just like sitting with that because I feel like I've inherited some trust issues, but then it's manifest. No, mainly my. I'm thinking my parents.
I've shedded your trust issues on you.
But then it's manifested as me not trusting myself. So I think I actually feel like, and maybe, I don't know, as my friend, maybe you can tell me, but I feel like I trust people.
Yes.
But I don't trust myself. And then it creates a weird energy with others to where they're confused. They're like, wait, you trust me, but you don't trust yourself. Does that make sense?
I am because you are, right? So if I don't trust myself, how much am I willing to trust you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird though, because I do see you trusting people. So I don't really.
Yeah, and I totally, you open up and trust people, and to what extent, like how far are you willing to trust? Because in reality, if you're not trusting yourself, how much are you actually really fully trusting another?
Sure.
Yeah, because your trust yourself is the bar, or like the understanding of what that trust looks like in the world too.
Yeah, it feels like a resistance to. I feel like I have like the story of you don't depend on anyone. You do things yourself, independent. And so that kind of bred like a weird distrust in people, because I always felt like I could just do it better myself, or I was supposed to be doing it myself rather than trusting others to support me or
and
what have you.
You know, we won't get too personal, maybe, but your mom, like,
it's our show. It's all good. We've already gone there.
Okay. Your mom's lineage. Yeah, let's look into that, and what was that trust for her, and go back to your grandmother, go back to grandmother with your grandfather. And you know, I always talk about the 7 generations. So it takes about 7 generations to heal a pattern. And currently, right now, with all the eclipses that are happening, personally, this is just what I feel. I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like we're currently healing, all of us, a pattern that started 7 generations ago. Like, everybody's working on something currently right now. So trust, and then go back 2 generations, look at what happened there, and then go back another 5.
Okay.
And see, because it is inherited, right? And at the same time, you were born into this family for a reason, whether you chose it, whether they chose you. I don't know what the actual order is up there. And, you know, you chose this situation to learn trust, and that's your soul's calling to step into learning something in this lifetime of sorts. And then we go back to the wounded healer.
I feel like I trust myself but not others, which is what's funny for us. It's like
compliment each other,
because I'm like I'm like the opposite, like the yin yang. So I guess the wounded healer almost essentially like your purpose or your passion. So it's like figuring out the deepest wounding that you have, and then figuring out how you can serve. You could heal that and then use that in service to others.
I there's so many definitions out there, and for me personally, I think that's it. We all come with something. I mean, regardless if it's whoever it is, right? We all come with a specific want and desire to understand something, or learn something, or give a service to something, to someone. And I think that's really, and it could be many things too. But I feel like we really have one soul purpose, healing wound that we really come here to work through, and then that looks like many myriads of different types of things. You know, it like splits up into a what's the word? A kaleidoscope of different situations that we come here to work through.
For you being so, like, you were so young when your gifts were discovered. What was that experience like being, because you were in Colombia?
I was in Colombia, and first of all, in Colombia, not like, I still to this day, I feel like, you know, if I go back and tell people what I do, it's like, there's still kind of that look of what do you do? And
really,
culturally, it's a really powerful country in the sense that we like had a lot of trauma, and I think that because of that, there's so many people that are really in tune and so afraid to get in touch with it, especially religion there.
Very
really
Catholic?
took over. Yeah. And my mom was incredibly gifted. Well, both my parents were really gifted in their own ways. My mom was really psychic, and she was really afraid to get in touch with it. I would say she was even more psychic than I am, you know, and psychic meaning intuitive. She would like, a painting would fall and she would be like, oh, Aunt Lucy just died, you know? I would be like, what? 2 hours later, Aunt Lucy died. Like, wow. Yeah, like it would stop, like the watch would stop and suddenly she'd be like, somebody died, and she would say the name, and again, we would get a call 4 hours later.
Wow.
So, but she was really afraid of it, and I always say that I feel like I was born into the family to kind of break the pattern of that as well. And when I was 6, it was really when we kind of I started feeling, and I was feeling and seeing spirits everywhere. And I always tell the story that I would have tea parties with my grandparents, and then we would talk about, you know, what was under my mom's bed, and then I would go to my mom and be like, hey, you have something under your bed. And then they're like, how do you know? I was like, grandpa told me, and she was like, wait, grandpa's dead. I'm like, oh. You know, but to me they were alive. So
what was under the bed?
You know, a box with
cash.
Things. Yeah, the secret
Treasure.
treasures.
Yes.
Were you
How did you
afraid?
know?
Were you afraid?
I was actually just speaking with somebody that I couldn't sleep at night because I would feel so much. So I was not. I couldn't sleep. So I was afraid at night, and in the daytime it was really magical actually, because I would have a bunch of imaginary friends, which at the time were spirits. And so I would buy like toys for them, and we'd have like, you know, it was quite beautiful. And at the same time, I feel like growing up, it really alienated me in school, and I feel like a lot of us have that story where we like feel different. I would have friends, but I feel like I would always feel what they were saying or what they were thinking, and it was hard to like actually explain that like I was feeling even more than usual. And so that really like was a hard piece growing up in school, I think. But it was, and I was telling you, Krista, you know, my first mentor showed up when I was, you know, 8 and then 11, just randomly. I never looked for them. And then the death of my parents was really when I actually, so I woke up, so that was suppressed when I was little. And then from 8 to 14, I had this like angst, like anxiety of like, I can feel things, but I don't know what it means. And then my mom died, and that's really when the gift reopened, because she was there. And I was like, wow, like, okay, so yes, spirit, you know. And then my dad died 3 years later, and then that really kicked me off into this like relearning and understanding that we're far more than physical, and there's more to this and to this body and to the physical space.
How'd they pass?
My mom she was a ballerina, and so different things, but she had a like heart failure. And I was 15, so I was like in Colombia, you turn like, oh, it's womanhood. You turn into a woman.
Yeah.
And my dad was a car accident at 18.
Whoa.
And 18 is when you turn into an adult. So I think those were like huge rites of passage moments.
Did you have someone like supporting you through, and I mean, even you just recounting just this, like feeling them as like launch pads into like the next level of your gifts? Was someone kind of guiding you through this experience of death and grief?
Yeah, it's been up until even just like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Just keeps showing up. It's like layers and layers, and you think you're done, and then you just get hit with like a bigger wave. But I think that I was really guided by purpose, spirit, nature, God, whatever you want to call it, because I kept meeting these people in my path that would just take me into apprenticeship and learning about plants and learning about, you know, energy work and qigong and acupuncture. And so as a young person, like even from when I was 11, our family left Colombia very young, or when I was really young as well. a whole other story. We were in exile in the U.S. And so just a lot of rites of passage moments of understanding that this is bigger, this is, yeah, a lot of energy here.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a vortex.
Yeah.
For the apprentice or the mentors, like how does that happen? How can people look for or seek mentors in their life when they want to learn something? Because I think there's probably a lot of people listening that have gifts or feel like they have callings to something and would like to find a way in which they could really learn.
I always say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I really, really believe in not looking for them. I feel like that's, to me, when you say, like, all the teachers that I've had are not on social media, are not like
The best kind.
Yeah.
they're just rooted in the earth.
The best.
They're older,
Off the grid.
Yeah,
off the grid. They have no interest, and
Yes.
that's what keeps me going in the way that I do. Is like I just honor that, and I feel like that's the teaching. They're not looking to get year long, all of that, all of those things.
Yes.
So, to me, it was random situations. Like my therapist was a first generation. One day she looked at me and she's like, "You have a gift," and I'm like, "Don't we all?" And yeah, we went into it, and she was a first generation Reiki teacher, and I'm still studying with her. And she actually doesn't even call it Reiki anymore because it's been so watered down that like it's it's far more than that. So I would really like set an intention if you want to learn, and what do you want to learn, and let the universe show you and guide you, and you will find it. Whether it's an ad, even if it's an ad, it's like not you going and looking for it, but it's like, oh, didn't I just set this intention like a month ago, and here it is. Or you are at a coffee shop. It happened to me, and I was writing down something, and somebody looked at me, and we started talking, and they became another mentor. So it's serendipity. If you allow the universe to really speak to you and not force things, it will show up at exactly the right time.
And you work with a woman, because when I worked with you, there was also a woman that you also worked with.
Yeah.
What's her? Is she? How do you work with her?
So I go to see her 3 times a year, and right now, currently, I've been seeing her once a month. The story is that I actually had a family curse. My family had a curse, and we met, and I told myself that if I was able to break it, that I would help other people in breaking them too. And she's a traditional Mexican healer. I would call her a healer. I don't usually use that word. And she has experience in like exorcisms and curses and all of that. And I've been learning some of that, but it's a bit of a darker world that I don't really like to delve into. So we actually teamed up, and she helps me kind of look at more of that lineage of work, which I'm a little bit, like I can see it, and yet to work with it is a denser energy.
Yeah. How does, and that was crazy.
She's powerful. Yeah.
That was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
What she was able to do in such a quick amount of time because we'd been working together for a few months, and then there was the one thing that I mentioned about the one thing within days.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, what? So with someone that works in that density, I guess, how do they maintain, and this isn't, you don't want to maintain neither is good or bad, but like, how do they stay in a place where they don't feel easily attracted to like how do they stay clear of entities entering, being in their space? You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I work with her and she works with me. We help each other. Like cool. I clear her, she clears me. It's like an 8. And at the same time, like Balinese, for example, the Balinese culture, for example, really believes in dark and light, right? Without the dark, there's no light. And without the light, there's no dark. Her wound was growing up in a really dark family, really dark energy. And she chose light, right? So she has really learned to work that space in such, like, in a way, it's a master. It's a mastery.
For sure.
She's an elder, and she's a master in that world, and she desires to be kept, you know, kind
Private.
of, yeah, because of it. Because I think that, like, part of it is to just, yeah, like, hold that energy very
I can
clean.
like feel her. I can feel her energy. It's like very fucking badass.
She's badass.
Whoa.
Yeah, she'll come to the light one day. I think when she, I think she'll be ready.
But we need
I
her in
won't
the
be
dark.
ready yet. Yeah,
We need her
working
where
it.
she is.
Yeah.
Though true.
You said you don't like to use the word, or you rarely use the word healer. Why is that?
Titles, healer, shaman. I feel like we're all of them. All of us. You know, we can morph into whatever we want. And so, coach. I mean, no offense to any coaches out there. Love you all.
No, but I like that. I like this conversation.
but
It's
I-
interesting.
But what do we do then?
Just float.
we
Just
float.
little.
I facilitate your healing. You're the healer.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not your healer, because I don't, you know, you're the one doing the healing, and I'm just showing you what you're doing for yourself, and I'm helping you and supporting you and guiding you in your light, in your mastery, your energy.
Imagine what like all of these labels and titles do for those that either want to get into the work or are like working with their gifts, where at least for me sometimes that's a mental hurdle, and I get caught in that comparison loop of like, whether it's music or like, am I a singer songwriter, am I, you know, it's like these labels that like kind of fuck me up a little bit. I'm like, wait, but I already am that. But by society standards, am I that? And do they anoint me as you as the healer? It's weird.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's part of. I mean, I've studied this so much, right? And at the same time, I'm like, I have no mastery of it. I still have years to go. I've studied Reiki for 8-9 years now. Like, still level 1, still level 2. I'm not a Reiki master. I'm still learning. So it's that same thing. And I feel like we all have the capacity to do so and to learn and I think that's what it creates, that opening of most of my work is to really bring forth the gift that everybody is. Because I want to emphasize that. I feel like we all have one. And so for me, it's to help people see themselves and help people, like, you know, a lot of the time I actually pick, tell people something that they were really good at when they were young, but they totally forgot about it. And then I'm like, did you paint when you were little? They're like, oh my God, yes. How did you know? And it's like, I don't do that anymore. And it's like, well, you'd be really good at it, you know? So it's like showcasing that creativity or that which they were really good at. And which we forget, remembering our past lives too.
Yeah.
With your curse, with your family, how did you know? Like, what was the journey with the curse?
He no, he like
Was a man?
and I was like, it was a woman. I was like, just, you know, I think later on I found out that actually my dad, like, it's a longer story, but a lot of things in the family were just energetically just stuck stagnant. Like my parents, things like were not flowing, and I went to this woman because I felt like something was in me, and then we realized that it was actually an entire family thing.
So what is a curse?
Energy that is placed on you personally or a family member or family in general, and in Latin America it's very prominent. So you get jealous of somebody and you go to someone, and you know, I don't really even understand really what they do, but they place, like, they do like some sort of voodoo kind of thing. I don't even know. And there are people that do these things. I mean, Indonesia is huge.
Unreal.
Polynesia. Like, I mean, I think that this is something that we need to talk about, and that it's not talked about enough. I think it's the maneuvering of energy that is not just like fully light. And I think it's, we gotta go ahead and even say that it's like even in politics, you know, like it's a maneuvering of energy that's dark. And it's scary.
But yeah, the curses too, they're also like generational. And so what would be indicators that people have a curse?
Stagnation. Like you will feel it. I just worked with somebody just recently that you just feel it, like you have no energy. Like it feels like you have no life force. Like nothing makes sense. or like you feel like your life is headed in a wrong direction and you don't understand why you're here. Like everything's foggy. Curses versus like entities. I mean, entities also are a thing, you know, when you, and all of us are so highly sensitive too. Also, we could.
I've got a few.
Yeah, that's right.
You do?
No, I'm kidding.
You said I have a leak.
New York
Yeah.
also is full of energy, right? Yeah, so it's different. Yeah, it's a language that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I think we talk, like, let's go back to Salem, witch trial hunts. I don't know much about it, right? But I just sense that a lot of us were burned or killed, or, you know, and I think in this lifetime we get to truth. We get to, I mean, bring this back up, because I think that's in part why a lot of us have lost our compass of sensitivity. Yeah.
We had before we started working together last year, we had a curse that we worked with Kiki, our healer, who I introduced you to over the summer. Was, I think, both of ours, but it was
On almost 30.
on almost 30. It was on the entity of almost 30, and it was like a target on our backs, and it felt, yeah, just like hopeless. And then now it feels like I'm so grateful because I'm not fucking scared anymore.
That's right.
Of anything.
And you're flowing, right?
Yes.
It feels like it's
Yes.
flowing.
Yes.
At first I was like feeling stuck.
Yes.
Like nothing was moving.
Yes.
The money flow was probably...
It was on our money.
Yeah, because it usually... I always talk about money as like the prosperity, the abundance. If you feel like you're stuck, there's something that's not right. I mean, of course, and you're trying everything and something's just like not flowing. That's usually something blocking. It's like if you think about your body, like your colon, if that were stuck, right? There's no flow of chi, of energy. It's the same thing.
It was interesting, not to bop around, but since you brought up the colon and just body parts, it was interesting, like you said something about the knees and it's connected to parents. And I think something about your shoulders, like, are you working... I know there's a study of the connection between the body and whether it's your parents or different people in your life or like different emotions. Are you bringing that into the healing as well?
It's usually something that I got told, not by anyone, but by like when I feel something, it's like I see, like, oh, like when I look at your knees, usually knees. I also derive a lot of the work from Chinese medicine, and usually the Chinese medicine will always have a body part connected to some part of family or, you know, energy or, yeah, Chinese. But usually when I look at like parts of your body, I feel or I see images connected to who it is in you. But I have a map, like a general map, like your shoulders, usually you're carrying something, probably family. Knees are connected to your parents, so not really letting you move forward. But sometimes your ankles can be that too. So it just depends. But that's derived from Chinese medicine as well.
And physical manifestations of, I guess, to bring in like kind of the curse work, does that manifest physically as well, not just abundance or energetically?
Yeah. Well, so yeah, actually, if you let a lot of time pass by, you know, energy becomes, I always say that if you let a lot of time go, whether it's like if you're carrying a shoulder pain, that's energy. That's energy that can be cleared. And if you don't let that go, that starts becoming physical more and more and more and more until you actually, something happens. When people break their wrists, their, you know, anything, it usually is energy that's just clogged, that hasn't been moved. And that just is energy that came into the physical, right? So it does become ailments. To me personally, I mean, to the scientists out there, but cancer is energy. It's something that you didn't deal with and you put it in the back burner, and then it came forth in your energy body, and it's here to tell you something, right? So, yeah, even coming like colds, I think, are usually releasing of energy that you are carrying from an argument or from, like, you know, a breakup, whatever it is. So it's just letting go. It's our bodies are the map of our entire soul or emotion, and the more we get in touch and in tune with ourselves, the more we understand, ourselves and each other. And if we understand each other, then we'd be in a different place.
I know a lot of you out there are looking for a therapist, whether you're new to therapy or therapy is something that you're trying for the first time. I highly, highly, highly recommend BetterHelp. So many of you out there have tried BetterHelp, and I actually just got a message the other day from someone that found her therapist she loves on BetterHelp. So BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist that you can start communicating with in under 48 hours, which is so awesome. And there's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. So this is the benefit to doing this online. You can also get a timely and thoughtful response from your therapist, as well as schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't ever have to wait in that waiting room. And get this, it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Plus, if you don't love your first match, they make it super, super free and easy to change counselors if needed. So if you'd like to try BetterHelp, you can get 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/almost30. That's betterhelp.com/almost30 to get 10% off your first month. This is your sign. Find your new therapist at BetterHelp. Okay, everyone with sensitive or acne-prone skin, I need you to listen up. I have a brand for you that I'm so excited to share. I've been using Bloom for about 4 months now. I am absolutely in love with their product called Meltdown. This is an acne oil. So if you have acne prone skin, you need to try Meltdown. It's really effective for fighting hormonal acne, and it won't dry out or irritate your skin. I don't know about you, but I was using a lot of really harsh products when I was treating my acne, and it would just leave my skin feeling like, just dead. So this moisturizes at the same time. It's sold out 5 times already. So if you don't believe me, trust me. They have thousands of 5-star customer reviews. Try it. It smells amazing. And again, the ingredients are 100% natural. They are science-backed, clean, vegan, cruelty-free. So not only are they healthy products, but they actually work. They are designed for all types of skin types. They have essentials like a face cleanser, moisturizer, natural deodorant, and what I said before, the Meltdown acne oil. Get it now. For our listeners, they are offering 15% off with code almost30 when you go to bloom.com. That's BLUME.com. Use the code almost30 to get 15% off all of your self-care essentials at bloom.com. I found them. I found the best sheets ever for you guys. I'm so excited to share. Bull and Branch, you've probably heard of them. If you haven't, this company is dedicated to quality at every step of the process in creating the best sheets, bedding, and bath on the market. So basically you are going to get the most comfortable, the most durable sheets. They do not cut corners, but they cut out the middleman between you and Bull and Branch. So you're getting like luxury sheets for the fairest price possible. What I also love, and as like a self-proclaimed conscious consumer, I'm always learning how to be more conscious in my consuming. And Bull and Branch, they partner with family-owned businesses that share the same values and standards, and every part of the manufacturing process follows some of the most rigorous certifications and audits in the world set by Fair Trade and GOTS. So this is no joke, and truly they are just being so thoughtful and conscious at every step in creating these sheets and bringing them to you. So I got just the most incredible white sheets. I got the signature hemmed sheet set. And y'all, they are soft. They are breathable, like super lightweight. I love them so much. They also have duvets and duvet inserts. So my duvet is from Bull and Branch. I got the signature hemmed duvet set, and it's just chic. It's super classic, but they also have patterns and different colors. So you are going to find something you love. This is the time to invest in sheets. Again, it's affordable, but these this quality is unmatched. So you can go to bowlandbranch.com, use the promo code almost30pod. So that's BOLL and branch.com. Use the promo code almost30pod to get 15% off your first set of sheets with promo code almost30pod. One more time for the people in the back, almost30pod at checkout when you go to bowlandbranch.com. Okay, I don't think I'm alone when I say I love a little sweet after a meal. Okay, I love a little sweet. So when I found FX chocolate, I was pumped because not only am I getting my chocolate fix, my sweet fix, but I am getting some really potent ingredients that are incredibly functional. So for example, I love their exhale formula. So the exhale has relaxing GABA and L-theanine made with buttery cacao. And y'all, like, there's barely any sugar in this. Okay. There's no sugar. Yeah, that's right. There's no sugar. And the caloric value was like 15 calories per piece. That's it. So we're going to have a few after every meal. After lunch specifically, I like to have the focus. So this has ashwagandha. So it's really helpful to just keep a clear mind, keep it composed and serene, but also super, super focused. So Nuganda is in this formula. It's a next generation ashwagandha extract that works with our mind as a cognitive nootropic to help you focus. So we love FX chocolate. We know you're going to love it too. We would suggest stocking up on the sampler pack so you can try all of them. Use our code almost30 when you go to fxchocolate.com and you'll get 20% off. Pretty big discount, y'all. Take advantage. fxchocolate.com. Use the code almost30 and you'll get 20% off.
A huge topic in our community has been investing, which has been a really beautiful thing. But I feel like so many women of our community are interested in investing, but don't really know where to start. So we are excited to work with public.com, which is an investing social network where members can own fractional shares of stocks and ETFs, follow popular creators, and share ideas within community of investors. So it really breaks away how before it felt like it was, you couldn't have access to the conversation around investing. It felt like it was only white men. And this really provides the people with the information and the ability to actually make a difference in their financial future.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Public's community is 40% women and 45% people of color. And their mission really is to change the culture of investing, really opening up access and creating a more inclusive space for investors from all backgrounds and walks of life. It's really cool. And I also love that, you know, there is that privacy aspect. So they're not sharing our information.
Yeah, Public doesn't share your data to market makers or trading firms. So there was a situation that happened, recently where there was a company that was selling people's data, and Public.com actually made the commitment to not do that. So they are a no PFOF organization, and they participate in the practice of no payment to order flow.
Yes. So if you'd like to try and start with Public today, I'm really excited for you. We are on there and we're learning right along with you. pblc.co/almost30, and you'll receive $10 in free stock in one of the 9 popular stocks listed. When you go to pblc.co/almost30, receive $10 in free stock.
Yeah, that is the thing about, there's some part of like the spiritual community where it's like almost like intellectualizing it all, and like intellectualizing the experience, and I am someone that does that rather than like being in the full body experience of it.
And that's your mind, right? We've been conditioned a lot to feel with our mind versus our heart. And embodying versus mind. A lot of us read so much, right? All of what I learned and know is not from books. I've never read anything on this. It's all experience
with your teachers,
right?
Wow.
So past life regressions, I didn't believe in any of this stuff. By the way,
I never had one that was good.
Oh,
like I've never seen a past life them down with yet.
I know. I haven't seen a dope one yet. I'm always like working.
I promise you they're out there. I promise you they're
gonna
there.
mine. No, I just don't trust anyone to do that to me.
Well, you can do it yourself.
No.
Yes. Take yourself there.
I'll
So
take
you
to a
don't trust
dope one.
yourself either.
No, I trust myself, but I don't know. What are
you afraid to see?
What am I afraid to see? I think I have enough information about my past lives. I don't know what else I would need to know. I feel like I get good information that I need to work on, that I feel like I wouldn't find anything else that is helpful to me.
Good. Well,
Could
that's
be-
where you stop.
Yeah.
And then one day, maybe in 20 years, you're like, wait.
It would just be entertaining to me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, whoa, yeah.
To me,
fucking
it helps with
whatever.
trauma. So it's like, for me, like I was terribly afraid of the cold. And I actually realized
Weather?
Really?
weather, like snow.
That's a sweet fear.
So sweet.
And I lived in Maine.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
Well, for like 2 years, I was
Okay.
really afraid of the cold. And yeah, I couldn't go outside. It was sweet.
Wow.
And then I actually realized my first ever experience, my body dropped temperature to 17 degrees or less, like negative 17. And I realized that I was frozen to death in Russia.
Wow.
And I left my baby. And then 2 years later, in the train going to Albuquerque in New Mexico, I meet this Russian man. And then we go to Mexico. And I realized that he was the baby I left behind in that lifetime. It was crazy.
Whoa.
Wait, you in this life that you met him?
Yeah, in this life I met him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he didn't believe in any of this. And then he had the regression and he's like, oh my God.
What? So he had the regression and it was true.
It was true. And the woman that at the time I was learning from, she was our mom. Or she was my mom, his grandmother.
Whoa.
It was crazy. And we were all like chills, right? Like,
I have a friend that had a regression. She was like really grossed out about hair. Hair grossed her out, like having hair in her mouth. And she found out in her regression that she like choked on hair to death or something.
that's what I had to.
Yes. Like it was like something nasty with hair.
Are those soul contracts? Are those, how would you describe those relationships that you've had in past lives that you then meet again in a different context, and how do you work with them in this life?
I haven't finished it yet, but I'm just reading Carolyn May's Soul Contracts.
Oh,
Highly
really?
recommend it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's soul contracts. But I mean, I feel like I've known you before. Like we just met today, but I feel like I've known you forever. You know, so there's connections.
It's the best feeling.
right?
Yeah. I always think it's like different planet. You're like, oh, we were from the same colony
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
You know, like we were from the same. Because I have these weird connections with certain people that people wouldn't expect, and I'm like, oh, we're from the same star system.
Right.
You know, we're from the same like area. We're here to do the same work.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so many people in the world, right? And we're here. I always think of that in airplanes and trains.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, there are so many types of people in the world, and here we are. And we are, I feel
None
like
of them are real. How do you live? How do you live in the matrix as a person like you?
what a question.
You know, how do you navigate the world, knowing how limited our view of reality is? What are some tips for people to live within this current structure that doesn't make sense?
I always go to creativity. I always to get like, how do we live in the matrix? I think of New York City. I feel like and lately airplanes and airports have been an incredible, like, I don't know what it is. I think it's a glitch in the system, but to be at airports right now, like you really get to see where where there's a line between the matrix and the non-matrix. It's like people with the masks and like, I don't know. I'm not even going to go there, but the thing that comes to me is community, connection, finding people that understand you and can have the same conversations. That to me has been a lifesaver. To be able to have people that we can talk about the same things with, and where you don't feel like you're going crazy. And if you don't have that, know that will come your way at some point, the more that you open to it. And I always find writing and painting and dancing to be like, the word channels, but like to be a space of like really finding solace within this space. I dance and I get I go into trance a lot, where it's like I leave my body and then I become like air, and I start getting these images and So there's a beautiful space, liminal space in creativity that I find that is just, I don't know if that answers the
it does.
question.
Well, it's interesting too, because with creativity, like when we talk about aliens are always so, like, aliens from different species or galaxies or negative entities. Negative entities don't have our capacity for creativity.
The heart.
The heart.
I just heard yesterday something beautiful. I don't know. There's something going around about aliens they're coming here to understand the human heart, you know, and I think that's why connection, that's why family, that's why partnership, kids, like relationship, friends, laughter, joy, celebration. The other day I had a session where I was like, just raise the frequency with joy, raise the frequency with love. And I know that there's so much happening in the world and I don't want to bypass any of it. But if you have the opportunity to just like walk outside and smile to the stranger or wave or say hello, I mean, that's why I love Latin America. You just walk outside and you're like, hello, stranger, I don't know you, but have a beautiful day. You know, you're really creating the space of like, we're in it together. We're here together. And our heart really, I think that's what we're here for, is to really understand the value of relationship, connection, and love. And all those aliens and people and reptiles and all of that are here to actually understand and take that away from us. Try to, exactly. Thank you. I really feel that that's what other planets don't have. And that's what we have that make us unique. And the more that we can be in it, like less about the screens, more about the conversations, more about the dinners, more about the actual human touch, hugs, you know, the more we can help each other and raise that frequency.
Yeah, it's just interesting to think about like what, and maybe I'm just thinking about the United States in particular, but what is rewarded. So we think about like whether it's the patriarch of the family or even matriarch now, where it's like we leave the family to build wealth, to build a life. Not to say that that is bad, but it's like this needing to sacrifice that connection with family in order to get farther in life. But it's really kind of breaking farther away from what is also really important,
right?
You know, and so it's like rewarded in that sense. And then I feel like it makes us, because I'm definitely someone that's done that, where I love my family, I respect my family, but I'm like, I'm gonna go out and do my thing and reach all my goals and do all these things. And I really feel like I tend to my family, but I don't necessarily feel that I've like nurtured that connection in a way. It's layered. I haven't always felt safe to do so, but it's just interesting to think about, because I felt like I was going to be rewarded for sacrificing that and going to get the thing. Does that make sense?
Totally.
My high school self is like, who cares?
I know. She's always on my shoulder. She's like, who cares, dude? But like,
live your life.
But if we think about like building our own families, I'm like, oh, that's so. It's just interesting to think about, where it is important to me. And, I have that big part of me that's like, go get this.
Well, that's the conditioning of femininity.
Yes.
And for the feminist movement, for us to believe that to be feminine is to be a part of the feminine industrial complex, where we're like, get 6 figures, get the figs, have your own business, work all the time, like do all these things that are actually like false feminine qualities that actually aren't the creatorship qualities, that are just kind of in the paradigm of patriarchy, but are like labeled as not being that. And that's what we've all been told. Because I mean, most of my life I was like, I'm going to be a CEO of company, I'm going to wear heels, blah blah blah. And we are, actually. I don't wear heels ever, but but still, it's like just kind of like deconstructing, like, why do I believe that not being with the family is the best? Why do I believe that receiving is not what I should be doing? You know what I mean? Why do I believe that the action rather than receivership is better?
Right.
And how the patriarchy sort of infiltrated the feminine.
2 things with that. When did we go from community into individual housing? right? Like,
Yeah.
with like this idea. I mean, I'm not saying that kumbaya communities, but you know, we went into this individuation of like one family home or two or
Single
three
family
single
home.
family homes, like one car.
Right after
like, we
World War
began-
II.
Exactly. Right. So interesting.
We know why.
Yeah. Well,
We know why.
between us.
Yeah, literally.
and-
Psychically decided.
And with the feminine, I think that that's where we're moving, right? I think that I don't. Another two terms that I have, like, I think we've kind of like really overused. So when I use them, I really try to be careful with like masculine and feminine. But I feel like we are coming back into this like flow. I think that less about structure and payment and this and that, more about understanding our value. That's what this Aquarian age is all about, from individual leadership, right, to collaboration, to how can we help each other out? How can we, again, come in together and do it together? And I think that's really about maybe a marriage, not so much just feminine, but I do feel like there's something about that, like, femininity in it.
Just it's like the true feminine, you know, like not the false masculine, because that's where people get the masculine wrong, where they see the false masculine and they see that as the masculine, or they perceive that to be the masculine, but it's the false. And the same with feminine. It's like people often see the false feminine and they're like, oh yeah, that's feminine. Like, it's feminine to like ask for a raise. And it's like, not really, but like it's good to do that, but it's not really like part of the natural feminine to do that. But I do believe, you know, it's like kind of being in the construct of feminine and masculine is a little outdated, but I do think there is like a really beauty in the creativity and like the chaos of the feminine. And the feminine really is like the creative spirit of what creates, and the feminine is what asks the masculine to change, to evolve, to grow. So it is important that there is the real feminine that is coming into what we have now as by like a false masculine dominant society, to like restructure what we have currently going with the chaos of the feminine.
Right. Wow, beautifully said.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I've been thinking about that a lot. I've just been thinking about that a lot lately, about how, and also too, we have this perceived idea that chaos is like bad.
Oh no, it's the best.
It's the best.
That's where we grow.
Yes.
I just had like 6 months of beautiful chaos, and
Really?
I feel so good.
Where
like
was
after,
it?
No, it's just chaos. Like, it just everything just comes, and you just feel like nothing's like, you know, it's like destruction, and then like, you know, phoenix rising from the ashes, or the lotus, right?
Yeah.
Like, so much comes from just learning about unlearning and relearning.
It almost feels like it's like you're literally like with the roots dangling, and it's like this disorientation, and then you're kind of like plopped and sort of planted somewhere else, but it's still, I always feel like very blind, you know, like where it's the sight is gone.
Always.
But then the other senses kind of
Heighten.
get stronger and heighten.
That's what's so beautiful about it, is like you start seeing things that you usually don't see, and it all starts coming to surface, to clear. Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier about like at the airports and in New York City, it's very apparent to see kind of like what's matrix feeling and what's not. Do you subscribe to 3D, 5D split stuff? Like, what are your thoughts on sort of that ascension conversation?
Right. I don't know much about the text, as I said. I don't try not to read too much. Like, I follow more about my intuition. And I definitely feel like there is a 5D, 3D split. I just heard that there is no 5D yet. I thought that there was. Personally, I thought that there was already.
They're building it.
Yeah.
It's not ready yet.
It's already. I feel like it's already. I think it's already
I think it's there.
I think so too.
I felt a 5D. Like, I sensed a 5D in myself.
Yes.
Again, I don't know much about it, but about 7 years ago, or like 2015, 2016, I was in New York City, and I was like in the matrix and a job, like in a corporation, and suddenly I was like I was doing it as I do a guinea pig, and I learn from all the experiences, because I like to like just test things and understand. And that time I just like woke up and I was like, whoa, everybody here's dead, like their souls are sucked. And I was like in a 20th floor in New York City, and nothing was alive.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. people eating their oatmeal, and the oatmeal is in the microwave, and and I started looking at their souls, and like their eyes were not like they were just like
I would always say
focused.
dead people.
Yeah.
When I was little, I'd be like, they're dead people.
Yeah. So it's like 5D, 3D, right? Like,
Yes.
and hopefully this time has been the time to like, a lot of people have left that world, if they have the opportunity to do so. So we'll see.
What do you think's going on there? Do you think their souls have just left? Like, I've always wondered that. I always feel like it's like there's just so much trauma that's blocking their soul from like comfortably being in their body. And so it's almost like they're walking blockages. It's kind of just it's not allowing like a comfortability of aliveness
I actually
within their energy
like
field.
conformity. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to this. Like I would see people in their routine, right? Like I wake up at this time. I
Well,
do
that's
this
what
at
dead
this
people
time.
do.
Right.
Like if there's something different, it's like, wow, I have to be alive to be present for what's new.
Right.
And it almost feels like
know?
the system is like threatening to them even tasting the aliveness.
Oh,
So it's like
Exactly.
walking into an office, whether it's like
100%.
the financial system or whether it's advertising or whether, whatever it is, whatever it is, it's like that system is so strong and like upheld by
Every
money
15
and
days you get
everything.
your check this
Yes.
time, like it's like it's set up for you to walk into it, and then I was in it for 7 months. I couldn't do it anymore. I was like at the 7th month mark, I actually got fired. I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was looking for. I mean, because I think like the more time goes by, the more you just get used to it, and the more that it becomes normal, quote unquote, and the less you start questioning. I think I was thinking about this the other day. Like we become like sheep. We stop questioning things. We like you're given this, you're taking this, you're doing this, and you're taking this, but nobody ever asks why. And I think that's the more time that goes by in this like rat wheel, the less we start asking questions, and then like, our community becomes that, and we just Brave New World, or Aldous Huxley, like you just become the machine.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think now it's like becoming the censorship. It's like becoming the things that we say, like it's like people become the censorship. There's no need for as much censorship from big tech if people become it for
Right.
the corporations, for technology, because
We become the weapon.
yes, they'll censor everyone.
Right.
And I was also thinking about too with like defunding the police. It's like sometimes I feel like the people that want to defund the police are the police in their own right, where they police everyone else's language, everyone else's existence, everyone else's expression or everything. And it's just funny how sometimes the people within paradigms where they feel like they're trying to break are actually fully settled into that paradigm, and it's like a weird way to be.
I want to go back quickly to like mentorship. My biggest teaching has been to surrender to everything, like to just like surrender and not like block anything, like I value each person's opinion no matter what. And it's like, I try to listen. I think that I listen actually. That's my biggest teacher, because I think everybody has something to learn. So if we're like defunding, like, I for me, it's about really bringing forth everybody's opinion without like the need to say, no, this isn't right. Because do we really know if that's right or not? Like I can go by my intuition, my feeling. Do we know if that's like actually right? I don't know. Right. Like maybe it is. So that to me is like really understanding and sitting with someone in their opinion and their value of what it is, without the need of shutting them down, but opening to the like possibility that maybe we could have a conversation and learn something from each other.
Yeah, I feel like in the world that we live in right now, like two truths cannot exist like that.
Right.
So it's like what's happening in a lot of spheres is like, if you say, well, I don't take either side and I'm just listening and I'm here to learn, they're like, but what side are you on? Because this is urgent and you must, and who are you if you're not? Are you getting this on camera?
But
The
really.
urgency, you know what I mean? But it's just like, when you said that, I was like, wow, that's incredible, and that resonates with me very deeply. And
I know.
where am I going to do that? I can with my friends. And I feel very blessed that we have, you know, people in our lives that we really can share very openly and honestly and listen to one another and not judge. But I don't know. I don't know if that is like a space in which I see regularly.
Do we get to create it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the work. Well, yeah, that's part of the work, I think. Because it's that binary, right? The yes or no, the black or white, the you know, there's no space for in between. And I think that's what really, like, I don't know. I think we got to create it. I do believe in it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because the binary would be like 3D, I guess, because that's like duality.
Right.
But I wonder what happens in people's lives where it makes them be very like that. You know, like what happens growing up that makes someone be so binary in that way, where it's like, well, if you're saying this, you're not saying this. Or if you, like, I see a lot of times with online with politics, like topics will be brought up and they're like, well, at least that's not this. And you're like, that's not even close to what we're talking about. But this is brought up to like discredit this certain view. You know, it's like, but people don't realize that the powers that be are always winning when like one person is pointing the finger at the other, because they're just like going along their merry way, becoming billionaires again and again and again, while people are sort of like fighting over these like minuscule things by making each other other in the process.
A need for power, control. There's a ton of anger underneath, right? Like it almost feels like a child was told not to speak truth when they were little, and suddenly like they get to speak truth. It feels angry to me.
Oh, so
It feels angry.
so angry. I know. I was like, everyone's would really do well with some like anger.
So, yeah, some
releasing,
somatic,
some somatic like anger release. Like it is.
Everyone,
it's like,
take a moment right now just to.
just to freak out and like be really upset, because there's this. But I think what really is like when people create their identities based on these certain things, where their identity is, I am this certain political party, I am this certain belief, I work at this company, I have oatmeal every day, I am these things, then these other ideas question their identity, and it becomes like a domino where they're like, if that's not true, what else is not true about me?
And then we go back to comfort, right? Why would I say something that makes me feel uncomfortable or makes me look a certain way to people, you know? We fear judgment, we fear backlash, we fear comments that are not like, you know, loving and because of, you know, not speaking our truth. We go back to truth. And, you know, so it's like this comfort of like sitting in my little box, not wanting to grow, not wanting to do, not wanting to see, because I'm afraid that if I do, what could happen, right? Like what's out there that could bite me or eat me alive. So this comfort of like, well, this is great. Like I have everything I want. Why would I want to go further? Why would I want to see more? And a lot of it is like children, you know, I have a lot of people that I work with that see spirits or saw spirits when they were little, and not my thing. Well, you know, shut down completely. And I want nothing to do with that. Comfort, right? They do nothing. They really are friendly people. So most of the time,
The spirits?
yeah, they do nothing, and if you don't look at them, they won't look at you, right? So, but we're so afraid of something that we've been told is bad, or you know, we're so afraid of again questioning or being different. Being different. That's it. We go back to that sheep, right?
I think it's with cancel culture. It's like, well, the worst part about cancel culture, from my perspective, is the fear that it instills in everyone to speak. Or the fear that it provides a constant fear for people to always believe that there could be the potential that something they've done at some point in time in their life could now be perceived as bad or as, you know, worthy of losing everything for. And it's just like putting that fear of people speaking their truth and going outside their comfort zone in them so they don't say anything.
Yeah. And a big lesson for me has been, you're never going to please everyone. There's always going to be people that are not in agreement with what you say or how you look or anything. So why not be yourself? Why not think for yourself, you know? And that is that cancel culture, that fear of speaking, that fear of...
I think that's a wound, a collective wound, probably.
Yeah. Talk about the anger.
Yeah.
That goes into the grief.
Yep.
That goes into the silencing. Yeah. Yeah.
How have you worked with social media in particular? Because I love your presence online, but what was that conversation between you and you when like Instagram in particular was something that was like deemed as you need to have this in order to have a business?
I don't market myself, so my work is entirely
Which is what I like.
word of mouth.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't put any advertise. Sometimes I put in like a little ad when it's like I want to gift some sessions, which is coming soon.
For the members.
And so sometimes I do that, but other than that, my Instagram is like art. And I have so many faces of myself, right? So the healing facilitator is one, but I love photography and I love travel, and I think I've had the conversation with like, let's become an online presence and actually start telling people like, this is my daily channel. Like this is what I get every day, because I receive so much information daily. And sometimes I'm like, I think I need to really share this. I think this voice is not just for me. It's kind of selfish. And I've had that conversation with myself. And then I also go back to what we're talking about. It's like, it's not for everyone, you know, and it's kind of, when we share that so publicly, there's, you know, it's, yeah. And maybe this is my invitation. I'm a projector, so I wait for the invitation. So that's been the conversation. But social media is a tricky one for me. I also sense that so much of life is outside of social media, right? And I don't spend too much time on it. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So many people just went,
Yeah.
oh, what? Yeah.
Do you find it to be like, what kind of energetics do you feel like when you look at social media?
Oh, that conversation. So we can tell a lot by a picture, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk. I mean, I don't know.
Pull up a few.
Clubhouse is a whole different thing, and I'll get there for a second. I lasted there a month.
I know, we were like, we should do once.
No, thank you.
When they started doing rooms where people were silent and they were just following each other, I was like, I think it's done.
Yeah.
No. So pictures, you know, I ask in my healing work, I ask for pictures because you can tell aura, you can tell the energy, you could tell what's happening in their, like, you know, in iris work, you can read a whole entire person by their eye energetically. So, you know, when you post something, and I feel like we don't talk about how like the energy of when you post something actually affects the other person. And you can tell, you know, something like kind of catches your eye. It's usually not the actual picture, it's the energy which is sent with, right? And you know, scrolling, all of that, like it's an energetic. So it takes away energy and you give energy, and it's I think that is that what, and the videos as well. I mean, the whole TikTok, I also tried that for like a week.
Evil.
Like couldn't do it. Like how much time do people spend on creating videos that, like, I look at it as like, what is this adding to the world? I'm sorry if you have TikTok and you love it. I respect you and no judgment, but at the same time, it's like value, right? What's the content? What's the creation? What are you creating? What are you adding into the world? And if it's joy, great. Like if you're enjoying it, love it. And yeah.
I feel like with TikTok, like you can't be with it. Like it's so fast.
It's so fast.
So it's like, I'm not on there, and I don't even scroll it. But like, I feel like if you're putting really beautiful content out on TikTok, I'm like, I can imagine it's just getting lost in the sea of it all.
Which is kind of how I feel about Instagram too. It's like all very impermanent. There's an impermanence to it. So it's like we are somewhat moving into like I use that word often, impermanence. Nothing is permanent, which is beautiful. And we can also look at the positive side of it, how much it connects people. I mean, I've met some incredible people just like that message me, and I've met one business partner through Instagram, and it was like, you know, there's positive and negative to all. So
Yeah.
and it keeps us connected, you know, also. So there's good and bad. There's good and bad. And people get creative with it, and, you know, creativity. But at the same time, you're right. Like, everything's so fast. Like, and like, where's the substance? I mean, I'm
It's crazy because it's like, it's normal to post every day.
right.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
To post. I posted this picture the other day, and I literally had that thought after I posted. I was like, that was a flat ass picture. There was just no energy. There was like, I literally looked at it and I was like, it's so flat energetically. And you can tell by looking at some pictures where you're like, damn, that is like a
Totally.
vivacious photo. And that people that likes, people, you can tell like how people
Yeah.
respond to it is through like the vivacious nature of whatever photo you're picking. I'm like, that's a flat ass photo.
I would like a challenge of a week where people actually post pictures of what's actually happening in their like moment, and like, you know, right now,
Yeah.
like what, like, yeah,
I know.
pictures of like small moments where it's like not curated. That would be amazing. I feel like if we could get more real on social media. I mean, I don't do it, so maybe that's another invitation to
I
get more
know.
real.
I also think, I think we were talking about this with someone else, but like even like filters, it's like there is this protection where you use beauty on Instagram. Like your photos are so beautiful. It's like I can kind of see it as like a protection from
It's true.
stuff.
Your mask. I just feel like I just really love beauty. I love curation. I love lying to the world about how I love.
I love it.
Regularly.
Well, at least you accepted it. You're
I poo poo the
at least-
mundane.
At least you're aware of it.
I only like grandeur.
That's right. Good.
That would be kind of interesting. That account would probably pop off. It was like, just this is the photo of the day that's like the most random thing.
What would the handle be for your like kind of?
My normal feed, Krista's BTS. It's Krista BTS.
It's Krista normal.
Yeah, honestly, normie. And it's just my double chin. Last question I had. This is very random and left field. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was at the beach with my friends, and we were talking about celebrities and how it's interesting with celebrities because they have such an energy to them where you can tell if they're in the room, and it's almost like you can't take your thought off of them. But so I was wondering with like certain people that are celebrities or have certain energies about them, do we notice their energy? Because, you know, as an example, we were at the beach and there was someone that was kind of famous down the beach, and you notice them.
Yeah.
You're like, you couldn't tell what you knew they're there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's someone there that's famous. Then you look down and you're like, oh, there's a famous person. And it's, what is happening? Is it like, because they're used to having so many eyes on their energy that it draws attention to them? Is it because they have a different energetic composition? What is it about it? Because I don't think that they're positive a lot of times. So it's not like you're looking at a very bright, sparkly, beautiful auric field that's drawing your attention because it's like a guru or someone that's done a lot of like positive polarity, energetic maintenance. It's like there's something else. Do you know?
A spirit. When I sneeze, I feel like
Yeah, it's like,
that's confirmation. It's interesting because I know exactly what you're saying when I'm around people that are like semi-famous or famous. But there's like an energy. There's a
yes.
For me, it shows up energetically in how do you describe it? Like tingly, like kind of expansive.
Mm-hmm.
I sense that comes from being in the limelight. Like I sense that comes from being in the spotlight. And I don't have an answer, but I'm getting that it's something that has to do with the ego and feeding. And so I feel like as an empath, right, you're feeling into that energetic. Does that feel right? Sort of. Yeah, it could be that. Like I think that's. Let me see. Yeah, I sense that it's an energetic within themselves that they know who they are, like that there's like a or like there's like whoa, I'm taking space, right? Wow, imagine if we all were able to take space like that.
Yeah.
Wow, it's not positive, but it's space, right? So you feel like there's this. I can't even. I'm bringing it like I can feel it right now. Yeah, like there's this like. expansiveness, and you know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And like even in the posture of that, it's like, oh, okay, I feel you. Hello. You know, and it's positive, negative, but it's an energy. It's an
And
energy
everywhere they
field.
go and whoever they meet, because they're famous, it confirms it, and it almost just
Correct.
like fortifies
It's making
how
it-
expansive they are in that way.
I wonder too if like as empaths you can feel their energy of ego being like, does everyone know me? You know, where it's like you're almost like tuning into their need to be validated or need to be seen or use their like how they're used to being seen.
Do you think they're really happy too, right? Do you think they're
know.
like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, they're all different.
Yeah.
we're
I know
like,
every single one
we're
is
we're talking about the one that you
Yes.
saw, and I don't know who you
Yes.
saw, but I can feel who it is.
yes. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I often think too there's like weird entities with them. I think they're doing weird
well,
shit.
talk about being in the spotlight. You know,
Yeah.
and we were talking.
Yeah.
I work with a few people that are in that space. I've worked with a few people. That is something else. You know, I'm in the shadows here, and I get attacked every who knows how long.
I think about that a lot.
You know, and I'm not. My Instagram barely has pictures of myself, you know, and I can't imagine somebody that's walking. I mean, they must have a team of healing facilitators, and they must have a team of.
I pray.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's something else. Yeah, I mean, and jealousy, and because we send energy without being conscious of it too. So even like being jealous of somebody, that sends an energy, and that person gets it. I mean, we're all composed. In Carolyn Mace's book, I read, we're all one, but what separates us is our identity, right? So it's like I can feel you from over here, and I can send a thought of love. That water exercise, you know, wow, I can't ever remember him. His name, Harimoto, yeah, right. We can send a message of love and you'll receive it, or like jealousy. It's not just in water, it's everything. It's the molecules.
Of the energetic
Yeah.
field. Yeah, it's so weird. I was thinking about that. I'm like, what is that? Because it's like we were at this one event in New York City and there was this really big celebrity and it was like she was in the back and you couldn't even see her. And it was like everyone was like moving in slow motion because everyone was like, this person is here.
We're creating that field
For
all
sure.
together, not just that person,
For
right? So
sure.
we're like, oh, there's that person. Oh, there's that person. And then woo, all our attention just like directs, right?
Yeah.
And then we're creating that energy field together. So that which you feel sometimes negative, sometimes positive, we're creating it. Probably you're feeling jealousy. You're feeling like, oh, this person looks this way. It's like, what? So, and you're so incredibly empathetic that you can feel everything at like a mile away, right? So
It was weird. It's like everyone's like acting.
yeah,
You know, it's like,
aren't we all always though?
yeah, it's so true.
Last question from me. So just speaking to energetic hygiene, for example, you were just talking to me earlier about like taking a flight and being just aware of like the sensitivities, and I guess just in our everyday, how can we energetically clear any of other people's stuff, any entities,
My favorite
if we're
question.
leaky.
It's my favorite question, and we're all different. So, and I've made a really like in-depth study in different types of people, because what is going to work for me is not going to work for you. Like I recommended before a flight for you, because I see from like even just looking at you, you're Vata, right? You're like air.
Yes.
And so in the air, as air, you need ground. So I would like put like really thick socks that would like really just make you feel grounded. Like there would be a whole thing that we could go through. And so energetic hygiene for you will look different than for Krista, you know. But like the overall, I think that my favorite practice is to, if you have a bath and if you don't, shower with salt or jumping into the ocean. Salt water we're crystals. We are like water. So we need clearing constantly. And I think that salt is our friend, big time. Epsom salts, rosemary, using plants as our allies. Yeah, all that. Sage, I recommend, and obviously with a lot of respect to the Native American communities, without, appropriating it. Palo Santo, which usually people use. Actually, for me, it brings spirits. It doesn't clear spirits.
Whoa.
So it's something I like to say. But I don't know why. It just like brings spirits when I work. It's like, so I've started saying that because I've felt that. And your feet on the earth is some of the best practice, like to just like feel your feet on the earth, no shoes, barefoot. I mean, there's so many different things that can really just support you. Selenite. You just carry a piece of selenite everywhere just to clear the energy, just, you know, especially in times of communicating, like just to make sure that your energy is constantly clearing. And what else? Crystals are amazing. Crystals are our friends as well. I've stopped using them as much because I feel, here we are. But, you know, I feel like different crystals. So obsidian protects you, you know, amethyst calls in your intuition. If you look them up, there's be. But just to like put a crystal in your space where you're most open. I know that we talked about your sacral chakra being really open. So like really putting and protecting that with a crystal or a cloth. That we talked about your sacral chakra, right, Krista? To just protect it. And scarves are amazing. The neck is one of the most open spots in your entire body energetically. Your back, but especially your neck. So I use scarves often when I'm in trains and airplanes because it just protects you from. I mean, I can go on and on. I have a lot of different tools, but those are some. What about
your head?
Yeah, that's huge too. I use hats a lot because that point right there, that baby spot, which doesn't close for a lot of us, is still open. You know about your baby spot?
The soft spot.
Soft spot. I call it the baby spot.
I don't know if
Where is it?
It's like right.
Justin has a dent in the back of his head.
Wow.
That's a soft spot.
I know.
Yeah. It doesn't close. So it's like a direct connection to spirit.
I always put my finger and I say, "Can you dig it?" It's probably just connected to spirit.
He's like, "Ow."
Yeah, I love it.
Those are good ones. Very tactical, but people don't think that could be a powerful protection, like a scarf or you know.
And our minds are really powerful. So whatever intention you put on anything you do, it's going to protect you. I love the image of like water and waterfall, just like closing your eyes and just like allowing the water to just rinse you. And then it just washes it away. It just washes everything away. Yeah. So there's whatever your mind puts any intention to, it will create. Yeah.
And she's going to Harvard soon.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
She's headed to Harvard. When do you start?
August 28th.
Wait, say more.
Crazy.
What's happening at Harvard?
I'm doing a master's in human development and psychology.
She put the intention out and she got into Harvard. Isn't that crazy?
Your mind is powerful.
Your mind is powerful.
She met the president of Columbia.
Actually, my roommate and good friend Jackie Nechtel introduced me to the Summit group and had a quick 5-minute interaction with him, and he inspired this next step, and here we are.
Wow.
Crazy.
Powerful.
Going in to break it. Don't tell him. Honestly, you got all your polos ready.
I got all the polos ready.
No, that's going to be amazing. We're so proud. Well, we love you so much. We're so glad you came.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that. I'm sweating over here.
I know.
I have a headache beyond.
Yeah. We'll clear you.
It gets like gummy in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's so much energy.
Yeah.
There's energy. Well, we'll talk about ways to keep the space clear for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been passing by it every day because I haven't really been in it. It's been so clear because I haven't been in it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you bring forth, I'm sure, with a lot of people here, a lot of energy.
It's Tommy.
Yeah.
It's Tommy. Strong presence.
He is. He's our little tree. All right, guys. We love you so much. We'll see you on the next one.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.